Hello, welcome to February's consumption video. For this month's empty, we ended up using this little TATCHA travel face wash. I got this from one of the Sephora birthday freebies, and I feel like for like mini travel freebies that you get, people end up forgetting about them since we're saving them for travel. But this is an example. I've had this for maybe at least a year or two, but I'm starting to go through my travels now. They also have expiration dates too, so you need to take a look to see when they expire and use them up before they go bad. But same thing as the other one, I've cut it open, scraped it completely clean, and used it all up. And I also finished the body soap that I have, the Caress body soap. And usually when I get toward the end of the soap's lifespan, I will kind of combine it with the new one that I have. And so like I'll wet both and just slowly rub them together, and over a few wash they will become one, and that makes it a little easier. That way you don't waste any instead of using the old one to a little piece, and it's very hard to rub it on your body. Another thing we used up this month is just a hand soap. It's one of the Christmas one. The bottle specifically, we just keep it and then we refill it with any liquid foaming hand soap, and that way we bring it out during Christmas time to make it festive a little bit. But finished up this. Originally it was a cucumber melon foaming soap, so we finished that. And this one is a little bit late, but technically this planner was finished for the month of January 2026, but because I haven't gotten around to actually doing it until now, I am bringing it out to kind of give it a little shout out. It's really cute. It has these little Hangyodon on the pages. And this one is a little bit, it's just a monthly planner. So it has it from December 2024 to January 2026. And so fill it up, use it up, and now I'm using a different monthly planner, which I will go into details in a different video, but I've used that up. Now moving on to most worn items of the month. This month I'm just gonna go into details on the items I wore the most instead of each category. And so the top 4 contenders of this month was the Uniqlo Teal puffer. This was purchased in 2019 and I wore it 6 times this month, and the cost per wear is now 77 cents. I've worn this puffer so much. Most of the feathers and the down inside has come out, so it's a little bit flat, but I'll probably wear this until it's nothing but a shell. I do really like this puffer. And for both are pants, also Uniqlo. One is this smart pants. They're kind of like a green trouser. Bought them in 2022, and now I've worn them 5 times this month. The cost per wear so far is around 2. I haven't started keeping track until about a year and a half now. So the wears that I've had before that I didn't track. So that would kind of give you more details as to why. The cost per wear is still slightly high, even though I bought it a lot longer ago. And for the next item would be these green wide trousers. I got this more recently in March of 2025, which was just last year, and I have worn these a lot more. Also 5 wears this month, but their cost per wear now is 88 cents. I have really leaned toward wider bottoms now and not so form-fitting clothes, which is why I've worn these wide trousers slightly more than the other ones, which are more straight leg. And it also rained a lot in February, so this Columbia jacket, I don't think it's considered a rain jacket. It's kind of an all-purpose hiking kind of jacket. I got this in 2019, which was a while back, and I wore it 5 times this month as well, and right now the cost per wear is $5.76. Similarly, I only tried tracking more recently, so all the wears I got before are not mentioned, but this is a very loved jacket that usually only closely comes out when it rains, but definitely still a staple. For this month, there was 8 books that I read: Digital Minimalism, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, One Moment, Morning Without Me, The Tenant, To Die For, The Spirit of Love, and Tangled Up in You. The 2 nonfiction that I read this month was Digital Minimalism, which is talking about how technology has taken up a lot of space in our current day-to-day life now, and it gives us tips on reducing the digital distraction and clutter that we have while using technology to support our more core values. I think it was a pretty good read. I give it a 7. It was a good reminder, but I would say it's nothing life-changing. As for To Die For, it talks about the synthetic dyes and chemicals in clothing that causes a lot of health issues, and it highlights all the unregulated fashion industry and laws. While it did not focus too much on the tips and advice for building a safer wardrobe, I also found that the tips were definitely harder for a average consumer, fashion consumer. I think for myself personally, I am lucky that I'm not too sensitive to dyes, and I don't have too much sensitivity to clothing, but I do have eczema from time to time now, which I'm wondering if it is due to the synthetic dyes and chemicals in the clothing. But yes, I think after reading this, I did have a little moment of being anxious about everything that we consume, we touch. But yes, that's for another day. On to the fiction. The fiction, I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This was a pretty good, comfortable, wind down kind of book. I love just a basic rom-com, I would say. Like, happy ending, and that definitely delivered. And similarly, in the similar vein, The Spirit of Love was in that genre as well. The Spirit of Love is definitely, don't read the synopsis for this if you are interested, but the main protagonist, she goes on a solo camping trip and there's a storm. She gets saved by someone, and when she returns back to her normal life, she meets this person that looks like her hero savior, except they look older. And so now she doesn't understand why, but she had a really good connection with her savior, and now she's also having a similar good connection with her her acquaintance. And there's a little bit of a mystery, magical sense to it. The ending was not wrapped up well, in my opinion. It's definitely up to your interpretation, but overall, I still really enjoyed it. Not so much, but there is a bit of an emotional cheating sense to the book with the protagonist, but overall still a good read. And I also read Tangled Up in You, which is a rendition of Tangled, but rewritten as a rom-com book. Very lovely as well. Those were the more rom-com kind of books, and The Tenant is definitely a thriller book. Similarly to The Housemaid is Watching You from last month, I could not read it from 1 to ending. I definitely had to skip from part 1 to part 3 to part 2, and then back to part 1 before I could finish it. And I think that's kind of how I feel with these thriller books, or especially the ones written by this author, since the beginning is always a bit slower. Mornings Without Me talks about the female lead. It's similar to an autobiography of the author herself, I believe, but it talks about her with this cat that she ends up adopting and their life together. It's a pretty short read. I have my own little kitty as well, so when I saw this, I was like, oh no, the kitty's going to die. You just know the kitty's going to die, and the kitty does die. But it was still good. I'm glad I picked it up, but I found that for these books where they need to be translated, I don't feel the emotion as well as if it was English written author. I think some of the emotion and sentiment is lost in the translation itself, but it was still a good read if you like cats. And the one book I would recommend from this month is called One Moment. I would give this book a 10 out of 10. Basically, it's about two best friends, and something life-changing happens to the first friend. And you actually get spoiled immediately on the first page, but she passes away. And even though she passes away, her spirit is still lingering like a ghost. And so she goes through her afterlife, checking in on her best friend, who's practically a sister, and watches her friend navigates through her grief of her passing and goes on to continue life. And it was a really sweet, good book. I would really recommend this to everyone, but it definitely is sad. But yes, those are the books of this month. In terms of purchases this month, I got a few items. One, I got a humidifier. I got really sick this month, and A part of it I feel that was not helping was the air was so dry. So I bought a humidifier and now I have a humidifier. And in terms of clothes wardrobe, I did end up buying another pair of shoes, even though I said I wouldn't. I've been eyeing these Clark's Mary Janes for a bit in this dark green color, and it was on sale. I tried it on and I really liked it, and I made the purchase. I have been waiting and thinking about these shoes at least a month now, so it was not an impulsive purchase. But yes, now I have another pair of shoes. And in terms of wardrobe, I also picked up this little baby tee. It has cats on it and it's green. My favorite color is green. And my favorite animals are cats. So this was a bit of an impulse purchase, but I do really like the color. I like the print. And so I'm sure I will have a good amount of wear from it. I got this from Five and Below. Believe it was about $7. And also from Five Below. Technically I didn't get this. My partner gifted this to me, so shout out to them. They also got me this hair clip. I originally had a very similar cherry. This one I didn't check, but this one had a missing leaf, but I grabbed it anyway. But yes, I used to have one of these and it broke. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's the clip I really like that broke. And so now I have its replacement. This one was $4, which I feel like it could be a little bit cheaper, but I still really like it. And besides that, I also got at Marshall's, they always have these big shopping totes that are like about $1. And because this is the Valentine edition and I bought it at the end of February, it was on sale for 70 cents. So it was purchased. It's so cute. It has these little cats with the hearts. Adorable. So yes, those were my purchases of this month. Good stuff. And that'll be it for February. See you guys next month.